Hello, 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 fight fans. We are back. We took the week off last week. Well, unfortunately, it was just a bad week for all of us. But we are back. Dustin and I are back. Monique might be joining us later. She has a work emergency and is at work right now. Because believe it or not, we are not getting paid for this. We're doing it because we love it. But we are back. Real quick, I'm going to go through some plugs, do our endorsements, then we're going to dive right into it because we got a lot of headlines and a really shitty card to talk about tonight. I know Dustin's super excited to talk about this awful card. But real quick, you guys can follow me at Alec MMA on Twitter. Alec Carr MMA, sorry. I just changed my handle. Mainly because the NFL is pissing me off, and I won't be. I'm my tag. So please follow me there. You still get the crazy off-the-wall opinions, I promise you. And Dustin knows how easily I am drawn into a fight because
off or what?
It wasn't the Eagles. It's just the NFL. Fuck the NFL. But that's for a different stream. But you can also follow Dustin at No Censor Sports. You can follow all of us at Fights Unwrapped and the Unwrapped Sports Network Twitter. Please like and follow us there. And please make sure, guys, that you are subscribing to our YouTube channel at Unwrapped Sports Network. And make sure you hit that little bell so you get all the reminders for all the great shows. It's amazing content. If you're not following it, you're just simply missing out, to be honest with you. Going right into our sponsors. Like always, guys, and I say this every time, if you're getting old like me, but you still want to act like you're in your early 20s, you might want to check out rxhemp.com. And use rxhemp-usn to get 10% off your entire order. This stuff has really, really helped me. It is incredible stuff. It's CBD ointments. Carlos Condit represents them. And you know, if Carlos Condit's putting his name behind it, it's the real deal. Again, that's rxhemp-usn to get 10% off your entire order. And then, guys, please make sure the card kind of sucks this week, but there are going to be some fun bets on it. And it's NBA playoffs. So make sure you're visiting mybookie.ag and using promo code USN100 for a 100% sign-up bonus. I know Monique is. I don't know if Dustin is, but please take advantage of it. It's an incredible opportunity. It's a 100% sign-up bonus. If you're gambling and you're not using it, I don't know what you're doing. All right, so we're going to jump right into this, Dustin. We're going to start off with kind of quick one, sad one, but quick one. I'm gonna start with this one, Dustin, just because I want to clarify my comments I made in our chat. So this news came out, and I said, because we talk to each other all the time in my chat, that it's interesting that the driver made those comments because he's driving around a pedophile. I was in no means justifying Cain Velasquez actions. You can't just go around shooting guns. It's period. Fuck at people, like, let alone at people and cars in traffic near school. You can't just go around shooting guns. Unless you're at a range or responsibly doing it, you can't just go shooting guns in the open. You're not allowed to do that. It's against the law.
Even in ranges, you're not allowed to just go shoot guns.
Right. Right. You have to sign up. You got to give them your ID. You usually got to reserve a spot beforehand, depending on what state. But yes, I was in no way trying to justify that. I did think it was interesting. The more news came out that the guy who was hit is severely injured. Is going to affect the rest of his life. He might lose complete use of his right hand. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a long comment. But basically, he was denied bail, and the judge kept their stance that what he did was entirely irresponsible, against the law, and showed no regard for human life. Listen, I love Cain Velasquez. I understand why he did what he did in a fit of rage. Doesn't mean it's okay. He probably doesn't deserve bail, to be honest with you. He's got to wait until his trial period and try to prove his case. Dustin, what do you think about this?
Actually, I'm not mad at the dude for saying what he said, because you almost got to put yourself in his position a little bit. I believe that was his stepson, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe he was just taking him somewhere. Maybe the dude just needed a ride, whatever. Maybe his stepdad isn't even that knowledgeable about the situation. I mean, you can't assume everything. Maybe he doesn't really know. There's family members who don't know shit about that. If I was the one who got shot, I'd be saying the same shit. You shot me and I didn't do nothing. I mean, and to can be completely honest, if Cain really wanted to get at the dude and shoot him, he probably could have picked a different. He obviously knew something about him. He obviously knew his whereabouts. So, I mean, come on, get at him yourself. Shoot him when he's walking home. Do whatever you got to do. If he's okay with jail time, which he obviously is. He even said it. He's like, I'm perfectly fine with going to jail for it. And no, I mean, of course you didn't get bail. I mean, you pulled up in traffic. That's like on some street gang shit. You pulled up in traffic and fired at your enemies.
In a school zone.
And then, and that's another charge, by the way. If you have a gun in within like 1,000 yards of a school zone and it's being carried on you like privately, you can get in trouble with that if you get pulled over and they find it. I don't even know if that gun's legal. I don't know if it was actually registered to him. So we'll see. I feel bad for his situation. I feel for him, and I feel for Cain and his fit of rage. I don't blame him for that. But I equally don't blame the dude who got shot for speaking out like, this dude's an asshole. He shot me and I didn't do shit. I mean, I would probably say the same thing. I believe I have a 2nd-degree burn on my foot, and I've been out of work all week, and I can barely use it and step on it. And I definitely knows what it feels like to lose operation in something that's very important. So I can only imagine if it was because of a bullet. So I only have a 2nd-degree burn. And so I'm kind of empathetic to that. But sad situation, dude. But yeah, I don't blame the stepdad.
Yeah, neither do I. That's why I wanted to clarify. I wasn't trying to blame him. It's just, the whole situation's fucked. It just is. Anyway, let's move on. We got a lot of fun headlines. I wanted to get the annoying one, the fucked up one out of the way so we could talk about the fun stuff. Let's go into... Let's do this one. Wonderboy, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson came out. Dustin Poirier has been looking for a fight. And we're going to talk about Dustin twice in our headlines. So we're going to talk about him, Dustin Poirier, for a little bit here. So Wonderboy came out. He said, if you're looking for a fight, I've been sitting here waiting. And it's a very, very interesting fight. Dustin, what do you think about this? What do you think about the fight? Sorry. Go ahead.
If I'm the UFC, I'm not putting this fight on, to be real. Wonderboy is still a legit top 10 guy. I believe there's more for him in 170. If I'm the UFC, I'm putting Dustin Poirier against Colby Covington. Period. And not that I don't like this fight for Wonderboy. He's an awkward guy. He's long. He's sort of hard to get into. Dustin Poirier might have some trouble with the boxing because the way Wonderboy stands is almost sideways. And he's very long with it. He stretches it out. And he side kicks, does all that shit. So it's hard to get in on him. Would I love to see this fight? Not really. I mean, it's not something I'm like dying to see just because there's no shock factor. I'm dying to see him fight Colby. If he fought Colby, I'd be excited. If he's fought Wonderboy, I'd be like, eh. I don't think Dustin Poirier is going after another title run to 155. Not saying he can't beat anybody to get there. I'm saying that I don't think he's interested monetarily wise and career wise to go after 155 belt again and what it's going to take to get there. So,
I think. Go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm about to end. I don't think he's going to make another run at 155. I think he's probably going to start looking for money fights, with Nate Diaz. Like, fucking, they put Cosmat up against for some stupid fucking reason. And we'll see, dude. But I don't think Wonderboy should have been fighting Cosmat, if you ask me. I mean, if they're going to give him a fight other than a title shot. I mean, fuck, I don't understand it. But go ahead.
So my thing with this is you brought up a good point about Dustin Poirier not wanting to make another title run at 155. And I have comments about that, and I'll save those for the end of our discussion about this. I from a fight fan's perspective, I like the matchup. I really do. It's been funny watching MMA Twitter because some people think that Dustin Poirier is small. I don't.
He's huge.
When he was fighting, just so everybody knows, when he was fighting at featherweight, he was probably cutting close to 80 pounds.
He was a big
from his walk around weight. Dustin Poirier walks around over 200. Period. He just does. If he's not in cutting and he's not training, he's walking around 200 plus, probably.
He's a thick Southern boy, dude.
Yes, he is a big guy. He's not as tall as Stephen Thompson, of course, because that's what Wonderboy's advantage is. That's why he's a karate master. He picked the correct discipline for what he is, for his body type. He is tall and long, and he knows how to use it. I think it's a really interesting fight just because as much as I hate on Dustin Poirier outside of the octagon, he is an amazing fighter, and this is interesting because it really is it's striking versus striking, because I don't care what anybody says, Dustin Poirier isn't getting Wonderboy to the ground because it's very hard to get Wonderboy to the ground, period.
He's got long limbs, man.
He's got long limbs, and he's got that karate stance for a reason. He just bounces away. And he can't get a hold of his legs, and then you look like an idiot, or you're getting kicked in the face because that's what he does because he's so long. It's just an interesting fight stylistically because if Dustin gets on the inside of Wonderboy, which we've seen happen, Darren Till was able to do it. It would be very fun for a fight fan to watch, but I agree with you. Unfortunately, Wonderboy has no market value. He is Mr. Nice Guy. He is the nice guy of the MMA. Everybody loves him. Nobody hates him. All the fighters love him. Everybody respects him because he respects everybody else. He's just one of those, he's like a true good guy. He just wants to be nice to everybody, which means you're not marketable. You're not. There's nothing to market. You can't market nice. It's hard.
unless you're a very legendary fighter like GSP. I mean, GSP was a nice guy, but he was also one of the GOATs. You couldn't beat him. So it was weird.
Right. I would personally. It's a shame because since the Vicente Luque fight, he's been inactive and he's been falling in the rankings because of that. And I don't really think that's fair because I love Wonderboy. And Luque's a fucking monster. I do want to see Wonderboy fight somebody. I think him versus Jorge Masvidal would be fun. But what I was going to say about Dustin Poirier and your point of him not wanting to make a 155 run, and we'll get into the Colby stuff next because that's our next topic. But I don't think any of those guys, those big three, right, or big two, you want to call it, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, just learned what it was like to fight Do Bronx. And I think Dustin Poirier is looking at Do Bronx saying, I rocked him, I did my best, I stayed away from the ground, and the fucker still choked me out. I think he wants something to do with that. Okay, he's like, if I fight him again, I'm going to end up on the ground, and then I'm done. I'm just out. There's nothing I can do against him. I think Justin Gaethje is suffering the same thing. He's going, what the fuck do I have to do to get this guy out of here? I think those two are I respect them and their abilities, but they're both going after money fights for now. That's what they're doing. I would love to either see Dustin Poirier fight Colby Covington, which we'll jump into next, or do the Gaethje fight. I think that would be really fun. Have them fight each other. Or the other name that was floated around was Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier, which would be. I think Dustin wins that fight 9 times out of 10. But if Michael Chandler gets you on the ground, man, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Michael Chandler doesn't. Michael, I don't know. I think Michael's trying to build towards it because he dissed the fuck out of Poirier on social media. I think he's trying to build it up. But again, it's if Dustin Poirier wants to go to 155 again and try to make a run. Because when you fight Michael Chandler, I mean, you might as well try to make a run.
He's going for money. That's literally what he's going for. And talking about that, let's go to our next headline. Poirier versus Colby. Colby Covington. Of the latest thing that came out either yesterday or the day before was that Dustin's coaches are telling him not to take the fight because it wouldn't be good for his career. It depends what you're talking about. If he's looking for a payday, it would be great for his career. If he's looking to win, get a guaranteed win, you probably shouldn't take the fight because you're not gonna get that against Colby Covington. I know a lot of people really like this fight, and I like it for the hype. I do. It pisses me off because it's two guys who just don't want to fight for titles. There's no reason for this fight other than pure entertainment. There's just, I honestly, it's these two are two of the most skilled fighters in MMA. But I think fighting each other at 170 is a mistake. I think Colby needs to go down to 155. I've been saying it. If he wants to have success, he should go down to 155 and fight Dustin Poirier. He shouldn't have Dustin come up. That's just my personal opinion because Colby could fuck up that division. He could cause problems. And he could fuck up some people's long-term plans in that division too. That's what I think. And I think
Islam would have a hard time with Covington.
Yes, he would. Covington, everyone forgets because he likes to throw with Usman. He really does. He likes to throw hands with Usman. Covington is ridiculous on the ground.
And I can't believe, I've never seen it in my life. I've never seen someone put Usman on his ass on a takedown. Now, did he hold him there? No, because Kamaru Usman's a national champion from Nebraska University. I mean, God, Jesus. You have to be – he's a national – it's hard to hold him down, but Covington literally got him on his ass. That is ridiculous. It's just ridiculously hard to do with someone like Kamaru.
And you know what else? Why he couldn't keep him down? Because Kamaru Usman's fucking huge. He's a ball of muscle that is huge.
His brother's bigger. Have you watched
his brother's like he is so like there's strength and then there's natural strength, and Usman has them both. He has natural strength and build-up strength. The guy is a monster. He could pick up Covington if he wanted to and just kind of like press him off of him because he's that much stronger. Covington has a problem at 170. Listen, I don't like Covington. Personally, I don't like him. He's a great fighter. I don't like him. I don't wish him success. I don't. But if he wants success in the UFC, he needs to go down to 155. The only way he's going to get it because he's not going to beat Covington. And I got news for you. He's not beating Chimaev. He's not beating Usman. Covington's not beating Usman, and he's not beating Chimaev. Chimaev is way too big and would literally throw him outside the octagon. He'd pick him up and ragdoll him.
The only thing I will say about Covington versus Kazmat is I'm going to tell you right now, Kazmat got made a human against Gilbert Burns. He got made a human. He's never taken a significant strike in his probably an MMA career. Then he got against Gilbert Burns, and he learned what it felt like to get cut. And he learned what it felt like to get beat up a little bit. I don't know. Colby is you say you don't like Colby. I take Colby's personality in the UFC and MMA world as a front. I think if I met Colby today, just outside of a restaurant or somewhere where he doesn't give a fuck, I guarantee you could sit there and have a conversation with him. He's probably not a bad guy outside of that persona. That's the reason I don't think he's really a bad dude. There's Nate Diaz is for real. Nate Diaz, he's a nice guy to people, don't get me wrong. But Nate Diaz is for real. Like, you meet him outside, you disrespect him, you're going to get hit. I mean, you meet Conor outside and you disrespect him in public, you might get hit. Colby strikes me as one of those guys, if you found in public, he wouldn't be that bad. Now,
well, Colby, he's a bully. That's why he's a bully. He doesn't. That's what he is. And I want to say something to retort one of your comments about him versus Chimaev. Colby Covington yes, he's a good striker, and he keeps getting better. His technique keeps getting better. He's got zero power. Zero. He's got no power behind those hands. None.
He's like Nate Diaz. He just peppers you. And
he's a pillow glove. Chimaev would eat those hands. He'd be like, go ahead, hit me. Go ahead. But in 155, that would be different. In 155, yeah, he still doesn't have power, but the threat of him being able to take people down is much bigger. The threat of him being able to effectively punch people with his hands is higher. He would have much more success fighting Poirier at 155 than at 170. That's what I don't understand. He's too small for the division. I swear, dude, and this might just be me being crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. I think it's a struggle for him to get up to 170. He's not a big dude. Big dude.
I think he only has to cut probably 10 pounds of his walk-on weight. Probably 10 to 15 pounds of walk-on weight to get to 170.
He's just not that big. If he just sucked it up and went to 155, he could be a serious problem for a long time. The issue with Covington in welterweight is, one, the only person he's fought is Usman, and he's lost both times. Granted, close fights, but he's lost both times. Other than that, he's only fought people coming off of losses and people towards the end of his career. If he's forced to fight Chimaev, Burns, Luque, and these other fucking monsters, Shavkat, Rakhmonov, he's going to get his ass. I just don't think he can hold up with those guys. Now, Shavkat's got to prove himself more. But those are big fucks. Those are guys that could easily jump up to middleweight. Chimaev could jump up to light heavyweight. That's how big he is. Anyway, we're talking about this too long. Listen, this is a fight to make for Colby. It definitely is. Just not at welterweight for me. Dustin.
I feel it.
All right, we're moving on. Let's get a little sad again. We're going to talk about this real quick. Glover Teixeira is fighting soon, and he recently announced this week that he would be retiring. And then he followed it up yesterday, by saying, it doesn't matter if I win or lose, I'm retiring. I will vacate the belt. It is bittersweet. No one deserves to retire more right now than Glover Teixeira. I mean, the guy's been around forever. We're talking about a guy that got beat by John Jones in early John Jones's career. This guy's been around, and he was a veteran then when he fought John Jones. Glover Teixeira has been around for a long time. It's going to be hard to watch him leave the octagon forever. In fact, he's making me – you know how much I love Jiri, right, Dustin? I'm going to be rooting for Teixeira. I want him to retire on top. I can't not root for the guy. This guy's story is incredible. For those who don't know his story, when we talk about him, we talk about him all the time. But when we talk about him, I always bring this up. This is a guy that was fighting in the U.S., got deported for some bullshit reason, and then fought for his citizenship in the United States. He's Mr. Nice Guy, and he's very well respected, and I just want him to end with a bang. Just go out on top. If not, still still caps off. I mean, this guy beat, and we're talking about Ion Cutelaba, Nikita Krylov, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, Jan, and now he's fighting Yuri. Those are all wins, except for Yuri, of course. I think Yuri wins the fight, but I'm hoping Glover can retire as champ. We'll see what happens. The fight is coming up soon. It is, just let me remind everybody, that will be June 11th. We'll be watching a UFC MMA all-time great retire. Dustin, how do you feel about this? What are your thoughts?
I'm not shocked. I mean, obviously, he won a UFC title. He's older. I think he accomplished what he wanted to in mixed martial arts, and I think it's time for him to ride off to the sunset and become a coach. Become a head coach, become, owner of a gym. A lot of UFC guys do that. A lot of top tier guys do that. And you should, because the knowledge you have you can't get that anywhere. So go get your money, get your money for this last fight. And then, go continue your life in retirement, coach these younger guys up. I would say I'm sad, but I have a good reason not to be sad. The light heavyweight division is about to blow the fuck up. I'm not sad at all, actually. Not sad at all. Jan's probably on his way to being kind of iffy. And all these young guys are coming up, and they're ready, dude. And it's going to be a hell of a time in the light heavyweight division when Glover retires. I can't wait to see all the possibilities, all the good fights that are coming. I'll send him off with a salute. Thank you for being a monster all these years, being a great vet. Would say I'm sad for you, man, but I'm not. I'm almost thinking like a friend. Like, I'm just happy you're going to relax and just go, for probably the first time in your entire life, not have to worry about getting punched in the face. So, I'm happy for you, brother. Retire, go off in the sunset, do what you do.
Yeah, go get fat. Glover, go get fat, man. Just don't worry about cutting weight. Just go get fat, dude. I just want to throw this out there. He hasn't been in the UFC this long, but this is a guy that has been fighting professionally in MMA since 2002. He's 33-7. That's absolutely incredible. This is a hard sport to last in the pros for that long. That's 20 years. 20 years.
He's also been fighting his whole life. We're not talking about like just an adult. He's been fighting his whole life.
Right. So it is. I am too. It is. When I say it's bittersweet, I am very happy and very happy that he's finally retiring. But at the same time, it's sad to see. It's always sad to see a veteran like that go. Always is. When Anderson Silva retired, it was the same thing. It was like, no, don't leave me. But
the UFC pay you to show up at pay-per-view events in the front row. That's what you should
do. All right, we are moving on. We wish Glover his best in his next fight coming up again. That's June 11th, guys. Make sure everyone's tuning into that because it is truly an all-time great retiring. Now maybe he'll shock us and not retire. We'll see, because he's still like
he's
still like after every comment he's like, but we'll see. We'll see.
I have a new headline that I think we should add. I don't think we need to add it to the computer, but Khabib is trying to get a super fight going, or quote unquote super fight going, with I think it's JDS and why am I tripping right now? Khabib's trying to work a fight with JDS and I cannot believe I can't remember his name right now. This is horrible. Look it up. Fedor. I think he's trying to get Fedor to come back to fight JDS.
I did not see that.
See that? I think Khabib's in the workings. He just met with Coker from Bellator to see if he get the rights of somebody to come do a cross promotion fight with Eagle FC.
If Junior Santos wins Eagle FC debut, he wants to do a cross promotion fight with Fedor. You know how I feel about this. So go ahead and be excited before I bring it down.
No, I'm not. I'm not like excited as like it's gonna be like some good fight. I'm excited because if this happens, I get to watch Fedor fight. Again.
That's true. That's true. It's just, it's like, it's 20 years too late.
Well, obviously, but who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Fedor stepping in the octagon again, man. That's fucking awesome.
I know, and he'll probably trash JDS somehow because it's Fedor. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about Khabib next. He's got lots of plans. I think he's really desperate. Eagle FC is very much struggling financially.
Doing exactly what the fuck they're not supposed to do, and we'll explain it if we talk about it next.
But we'll talk about it in this sense. We got Tony Ferguson drama. We got Tony Ferguson drama again, Dustin. We can't get away from him. We just can't. He won't shut up. Since getting his face kicked in by Michael Chandler, I think Michael Chandler knocked some brain cells out of there, or gave him CTE or something, or scared the shit out of him. I don't know, because he will not shut the fuck up. He's literally every day he says something crazier and crazier and crazier. He's blaming the UFC, and I'm going to throw this up real quick. But before I continue, I'm going to throw this up real quick because this is going to be a good one. He is blaming the UFC for being racist because he's a Mexican-American, and that he's not getting a fair shot, even though Brandon Moreno was the reigning champion in the UFC for a good amount of time.
Brandon is a Mexican. He literally is from Mexico.
Right, exactly. There's tons of Mexican fighters. There's tons of fighters from all over the world in the UFC. This doesn't make fucking sense, Tony Ferguson. You've had so many chances. You got gifted a Michael Chandler fight when you should have been fighting someone way worse. Dana again gave you a gift to try to prove yourself to the world again, and you got your face kicked in, literally in. Now you're calling out Khabib again. You want to fight Khabib? I want to fight Khabib. Please let me fight Khabib. But before we get to that, because that will bring us to Eagle FC, you're saying you deserve a rematch against Duke Bronx because you're the only one that didn't tap out against him? Dude, you're the only one that didn't tap out against him because you're crazy. He had you in 3 submissions that everyone else would have tapped out against. Everyone else. And I give you credit for that. I really do. But you got your ass whooped. You got your ass whooped at your own game. Duke Bronx made you look like an idiot. And you're coming off of – hold on, I'm going to pull it up. You're coming off of what, 3 losses, 4 losses, Dustin? Granted, they're all the top guys. They're all the top guys. I give you credit. But you don't deserve a fucking title shot against one of the best 155ers of all time. This guy's on an 11-fight win streak. He's defended his title. If he defends his title, and I'm counting this fight, I don't care what anyone says, I'm counting this fight as a title defense. If he fights and wins his next fight, it's tying the record, Khabib's record for most title defenses as a 155er. People need to put respect on Duke Bronx's name. This is we're watching history. Just because he's nice and he's not marketable, he is whooping everybody's ass that Khabib beat. And he's doing it better than him. He is whooping everybody's ass. And
I wouldn't say better because Khabib investigating inverted triangle.
We can talk about that later. Tony Ferguson has the balls to suggest that he deserves a rematch. We just watched Duke Bronx make Justin Gaethje look like an idiot. Justin Gaethje could have won that fight 3 times, but he's terrified of his guard. Terrified of it. Because he rocked him 3 times in that fight and wouldn't go to the ground because he is terrified of his guard. Dustin Poirier rocked him 3 times, wouldn't go to the ground because he's terrified of his guard. Tony Ferguson, how dare you? You are I'm going to use a term that's strong, and I'm going to mean it. You're a disgrace. You need to shut the fuck up. You need to just shut up and stop running your mouth because you don't deserve a title fight. You don't deserve anything right now. You're lucky you're not getting cut for the comments you're making in the UFC. Seriously, people have been cut for less by Dana White and the UFC. And you're coming out here telling the world that Dana White's racist because he won't give you a fucking title shot? Shut up, dude. Shut up. And then you call out Khabib. And then you call him out one of the greatest of all time. You call him out because he slighted you for missing your fight. You know what, Tony? I got news for the world. And I know the world doesn't watch your stream, but just in case we ever make it big one day, Dustin, I got news for the world. And it goes back to what I've been saying about Tony Ferguson since Tony Ferguson started making waves in the UFC. He's the most overrated fighter of all time. He just is. If he had fought Khabib, Khabib would have beat him within 2 rounds, and it wouldn't have been close. I'm sorry. I know Tony Ferguson in his prime was unpredictable. It doesn't matter. Khabib pressures you, mauls you, and taps you out, or mauls you until it's a TKO and the fight it's an early stoppage. You had no chance against Khabib. And if your corner's telling you, if your manager's telling you that you did and that you still do, please find new people around you before you get severely injured. This is serious now. Please get people around you before you get hurt. Tony, you're closer to retiring than getting a title fight. You're closer to getting cut than getting a title fight. 4 straight losses. 4. I'm done. Dustin, what are your thoughts?
Here's my thing about Tony Ferguson. I remember me and Alec had a conversation. He said he doesn't spar anymore. Which there are fighters who don't. I think you pointed out Max Holloway is one of them. To be honest, I think that's a difference between a title holder and a title contender. You can be a contender hitting bags. If you're really good at striking, whatever. You're in shape, whatever. But when you're in the gym day in, day out, going up against the toughest fighters in the world, sparring against them in kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever you want to call it, I don't give a fuck where you roll it, if you roll with them or you actually spar with them. You get better. You get crazy better. I guarantee you right now, I have never gotten into kickboxing. But if I trained with Anderson Silva and sparred Anderson Silva for a month, I would come out very good. I guarantee I'd get very good just because I'm used to Anderson Silva whooping my ass. And then I'd fight someone normal. And then I'd be like, well, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. When you have good sparring partners, when you have a good coach, when you have a good team, a good atmosphere, it makes you a better fighter. And if you don't think that, you're losing. You're losing. Fighting isn't taught as a team sport, but it is a team sport. You didn't get that good by yourself. You had teammates that helped you. They gave you opinions. That gave you training insight. That if you fucked up during training, they told you why you fucked up. If you have good training partners, they'll tell you where you went wrong and they'll show you how to not go wrong. It is so important to have good training partners in a good gym. If you don't have them, you're going to lose. You will lose eventually. I don't give a shit how talented you are. It will happen. John Jones got as good as he was because he fucking trained with Greg Jackson and Rashad Evans. And he trained with a bunch of killers and Greg Jackson. That's why he's so good. It's not just because John Jones was as big as he was or there's other guys that are as big. There's other guys that have the physical talents.
Look at Stefan Struve.
There's other guys that are massive and have physical attributes that dominate other human beings. And they're not as good as John Jones. It's because he had a good camp, a good coach, good training partners, and he actually was disciplined at one point. And when Tony Ferguson relaxed, I think he has shitty people around him. I think he has bad advice. I think he's such a fucking introvert and he thinks he's such the shit. Even if he went to the gym, they would hate him. and they would never want to train with him. They'd never want to give him tips. They'd probably just try to whoop his ass during sparring, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Because if you're a bad training partner, that's how it's going to go. People are just trying to beat you up when you spar, and they're not even going to think about helping you out or giving you a handshake or making you a better fighter. And also, just as a person, Tony, how do you go off dissing Dana White when he's done everything for you, dude? He's put you on a pedestal. He puts you up against top 5 guys all the time. He puts you on main cards. He's given you the main events, dude. And honestly, the fight with Justin Gaethje where you got beat up, you didn't have to take that. You were trying to be a company man. You could have waited and got your title shot. That was your fault. You took that fight. Dana probably didn't put a gun to your head and was like, hey, if you don't take this fight, you're not getting your title shot. I don't think that happened. I think Dana was like, hey, man, we're in a pandemic. Would you mind fighting on this, main event with, Justin Gaethje? Would you mind? And he was trying to be a company man. Well, if you hated Dana so much, why the fuck would you throw away a title fight to go fight somebody that was under a title fight? Because back then, he was going for the title. He was going for it. If he wouldn't have fought Justin Gaethje, he would have been in the next title fight. So that is your fault. All the shit you've done is your fault. Stop blaming other people, especially with the race shit, because that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They literally have Nigerians. They got Brazilians. They got white guys. They got black guys. I mean, black African Americans. They have Africans. Dude, they have everything.
Look at to that point. Look at the Nigerians right now. They're dominating the UFC.
Honestly, and Izzy is from New Zealand. He just has Nigerian roots. His parents are from there. He's from freaking New Zealand. Like, there's guys from Australia, guys from Russia. There's no way UFC can be racist. It wouldn't make any fucking sense. That's like telling, what's his face? It's like telling Kamaru, like, hey, bro, you can't fight for the title. You're Nigerian. What the fuck? Why would I do that? Obviously, Brazilians were coming up from the mud. None of those guys grew up poor, and they're fighting for nothing. And then they come to the UFC, and they're fucking millionaires all of a sudden. Yeah, that's racist. He's real racist. Anderson Silva had one of the most decorated careers, but he's racist, though. He didn't do all he could to make Anderson Silva look good. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He loves Anderson Silva. Matter of fact, he let him fight so long because he loves him. Because he was getting beat up. And finally, Dana probably convinced him, hey, man, I need you to stop. Especially, at least in my promotion. And yeah. It's crazy how he says stupid shit. It's someone's giving him bad advice, or he has bad people around him, or he's just mentally ill. There's mentally ill is probably where I'm going, because I don't think a normal person acts like that. Just to be real.
Maybe. All right. Fuck you, Tony Ferguson, is pretty much what Dustin and I both just said. We are moving on. We got one more topic, and we'll be quick, and then we got to get in the card because we're already at 40 minutes, Dustin. This is what happens when we don't have Monique here to keep us calm. So the one thing I've wanted to talk about, just because I'm interested in it, who's next for Do Bronx? Who's next? Who's he going to fight next? That's what everyone's talking about. That's what everybody wants to know. A lot of people want Islam. I don't agree with that right now. I love Dustin can vouch for me. Anyone in the fights chat can vouch for me. Islam's my guy. Islam's my guy. I have literally said Do Bronx is champ until he fights Islam. I've said that on this stream. That being said, he's not there yet. Islam's just coming off a win against Bobby Green, who just got fucking booted out of the UFC. Like, I understand he beat Hooker, but he's coming off a win like that. He's got to fight Dariush. He's got to fight Dariush. Dariush has been waiting for a fight. The winner of that fight gets Do Bronx. That's my opinion. In the meantime, who should Islam fight? I mean, who should Do Bronx fight? That's my question.
Again.
What?
I don't. Well, the only time he's going to Do Bronx is going to fight again is for the vacant title.
Do Bronx wants to fight again, though, for the vacant title as quickly as possible. Does not want to have to wait for Islam at all. That's what he said. And
Conor
I want the reason I am bringing this up is because Dana White was asked the question. He was asked the question, Dustin.
If Islam is fighting,
wait, let me, because there's two questions he was asked, but the question is not probably the one you're thinking of, because I'm not considering Conor McGregor, if that's where you were going.
No, not you.
Alexander Volkanovski. He was asked if Alexander wanted to step up and fight for the belt, would Dana White let him? And Dana White said, yes,
Stupid.
absolutely yes.
No, not that fucking way. Don't do it that way. Not for a vacant title. Do not do it that way.
And Dustin is already going where I'm going. You don't do that for a vacant title, especially in a scenario like this where Dana White has admitted the scale was fucked up. Dana White said it. The UFC admitted it, even though the guy who's in charge of scales was like, no, it's not. I did my job. Don't tell me. Dana White, the president of the UFC, said the scale was fucked up. You don't get 10 guys missing weight by 0.5 pounds exactly unless the scale's fucked up.
Putting security around the weight on the scale. They're putting UFC is putting hired security on the scales to watch it. So no one fucks.
Right, because it was fucked up, and this happens in Arizona. It's happened before. This is just the biggest time it's ever happened. Dana White's pissed off. But you don't give Volkanovski when Bronx gets his belt back. When Bronx gets his belt back, give Volkanovski a shot. Sure,
do it.
Sure, absolutely do it. But until then, no, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not right. It breaks all the MMA rules. Just don't do it. And then we brought up Conor McGregor. Listen, Conor already said he's not fighting at 155. He's sticking at 170. Period. That's what he said. He doesn't want to cut down. He looks like he weighs 215 right now. The guy does not look like he's ready to cut. And he said as much that he's not coming down to 155.
That rich motherfucker can do whatever he wants.
Right. Does not matter. Doesn't matter to him. He doesn't have to fight. If Dana White tries to book him at 155 and he doesn't want to, he can go, that's fine, Dana White. I make more money than you. I'm gonna go over here now. But let me know when you book me a 170 fight. I personally would watch that fight. It would be extremely interesting. Conor McGregor has people forget he does have high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not as high level as Bronx, and he mainly uses it for takedown defense. But he's have what?
He's a purple belt.
Yeah, so he did that, and that's no joke. He's a real purple belt. So it would be interesting. He's had success against other BJJ artists. I just think Bronx he's never fought anybody with the high level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that Bronx has, because in my opinion, there's only been one or two guys ever who has been at that same level of Bronx to fight in the UFC.
I have a thing for you about Bronx Jiu-Jitsu when he falls down. I think he does it on purpose. So when a guy hits him hard and he feels like he's rocked, what he does is he does what Nate Diaz does. He drops to his back and puts his legs up.
Yes, he does. He absolutely does.
Here's what's going to happen with Conor. Conor is not a cardio guy, but I will give Conor this. He's a fucking fighter. If he knocks you the fuck down, chances are he might go after you. He didn't go after Nate Diaz. Well, Nate Diaz is like 6 foot fucking what? Dude, that dude's huge. His legs are long as shit. I would hate to be in Nate Diaz's guard. People talk about Charles DeBronx. Oh, shit. Nate Diaz's guard would be annoying. You are not getting out of that shit. I don't care what you do. That dude is way too good. DeBronx is a little bit shorter. I'll give him that. He doesn't have as long as limbs. But if Conor knocks him down, I think Conor hits like a fucking truck. So when Conor lands a left hand on DeBronx, I don't think it's going to be like Dustin Poirier's left hand. I don't think it's going to be like anybody's left hand. When Conor cracks him with that left, it's going to be.
Conor's the hardest hitting the 155er we've ever seen. He just is. He just is. That left hand is dangerous. But Duke Bronx absolutely does fall on purpose. I love these Duke Bronx haters coming out going, I think he's doping because he doesn't get – he gets not – it's like, shut the fuck up. You know, like, if you don't like the guy, just say you don't like him.
You see how small he is? You think he's fucking doping? He's skinny.
It's dumb. It's dumb. And doping wouldn't really help with – it helps with endurance and strength. Getting knocked out is getting knocked out. Like,
well, I will say your cardiovascular system does matter getting knocked out because if you have good cardio, you won't get knocked out as much.
But that's the thing. Duke Bronx can fight for 10 rounds in the UFC, guys. He's always been able to. He's always had a gas tank. This is nothing new. Duke Bronx gets down to a 5-round fight. Looks like he can go for 5 more, maybe 10 more. Like, the guy's just an animal.
You know how you actually finished O Bronx? If I was going to give you a way to finish him? Break his body.
You did great.
Go for his body.
And that's the difference with this is why I am interested. And everybody knows I have a fascination with Conor McGregor. I love his business savvy. I loved him on his come up. I'm liking him less and less. And then I like him more. I go back and forth with Conor McGregor. So maybe I'm being biased. But Conor McGregor has always been an extremely smart striker. Always. He's always been. Like you said, he didn't go into Nate Diaz's guard. Well, he did, and then he learned from it. And in the second fight was like, nah, fuck that. I'm not doing that again. Conor McGregor, for all the crazy shit he does, is an extremely high IQ fighter. And I think he does. We've seen him change his fight style over and over again. He already loves going after the body, and he's been learning boxing. So his body punches are going to be way stronger than they used to be. And his kicks, this is what everybody forgets about Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, for his size, has extremely long legs. He's one of those like people who look weird because he's really long legs, short torso, and really long arms. He's one of the guys that's born for MMA, right? His body was just an MMA body to start with. And then he actually got good at it. Conor McGregor would cause problems for Duke Bronx because he would sit back, and what everyone forgets, Conor McGregor's body kicks are fucking lethal, and they come out of nowhere. The way he throws that spinning back kick to the body, Dustin, he does it in every fight, and every time it lands. Every time he throws it, it lands. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it's against, when it's against. It landed against Khabib. It lands against everybody. He is an incredibly smart striker.
I also hate the rhetoric about Conor when he fought Khabib. Everybody was saying he got his ass beat. And I was like, you didn't watch that fight. Dude, Conor probably did the best against Khabib I've seen anybody do.
Been the most takedowns still.
Like, literally, his wrestling was good. He pressured Khabib. Like, bro, he did everything right. It's just Khabib finally.
And he rocked him. That's what everyone forgets. He rocked Khabib. He hit him. He hit him hard, and he got him. And then Khabib said, nah, fuck this. We're going to the ground. We're going to the ground. And he's like, I'm done. I'm not throwing anymore. Anyway, we got to move on. We do have a fight card to talk about. This is what happens when Monique's not here. We go over time. So we got UFC Vegas 55 card, and boy, is it good. Oh, my God. It's so bad, Dustin. It's so bad. Before we get started, this has become a norm with our Vegas cards, Dustin, where I like to point out fights on the undercard that should be on the main card. And there's 2 on this. The fights that I will be tuning into on the undercard will be Joseph Holmes versus Alan Amadovsky, 2 very young fighters in the UFC, 2 guys who are middleweights with a ton of talent. Everyone should be tuning into that fight. And the other fight is Chase Hooper against Felipe Flores. You're watching this fight because of Chase Hooper. He's a 22-year-old. Yes, he's coming off a loss. He's a 22-year-old with 3 UFC fights already. That's a big deal. That doesn't happen. The guy is an incredible wrestler. He's working on his striking, getting better at striking. Tune into this fight because you might be watching the next guy that comes up. Now, he could bust too, but it's really interesting for me to always watch those young guys who have a ton of talent. Chase Hooper is one of those young guys. Anyway, let's start the fight card. The amazing, amazing UFC 55. And it starts with Eric Anders versus Park Jun Young. Dustin, I'll go to you. What do you care about this fight?
None of them. Like, honestly, the main event's probably the only one that I'm just like,
No, but this fight in particular, how do you feel about it? Eric Anders and Young Park.
I've watched Anders. Park, I don't think I've really.
No, you've seen him.
Who did I see him against?
Nick Diaz, Rory McDonald, Frankie Edgar, Yair Rodriguez, and Clay Guida. He lost all of them.
Okay, I think yeah. I think next time.
He beat Matt Hughes and Diego Sanchez when Diego Sanchez was still in his prime. At one point, he was a promising fighter in the UFC, but just fell apart.
Like I said about these UFC Vegas cards, I only watch them if I feel as if, like, honestly, I'm a Sunday guy. I'll watch them if I thought they heard they were good. That's who I am. I'm gonna be real, because these younger guys, unless they make waves, unless they do something great, it takes a while. Anders, I've seen. Park, I've obviously seen. Yes, now I actually kind of recall. I'm gonna go for Anders in this fight. I think Anders.
I'm gonna go for it. Doesn't matter. They should both be cut. Doesn't matter who wins this fight. They should be. And there was a time where I really liked Eric Anders. And I still like him. He seems like a fun guy, but he doesn't belong in the UFC. He just doesn't.
I mean, they haven't cut Clay Guida, and he's like the 30th ranked lightweight, and he's been there for 20 years. I mean,
that's because Clay Guida would take any fight ever. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I think Eric Anders wins this fight. I don't know why. It doesn't really matter. Let's move on to the next one. We got Juliana Viana versus Tabitha Ritchie. These are two fighters I actually don't know much about. Tabitha Ritchie is a 27-year-old. Yeah, this is just one of those fights I'm going to tune into as an interesting fight. And I hate not knowing about certain fighters, but I don't like lying either and trying to blow smoke up our viewers' ass. I will be watching this fight to see what both of these women got, because I don't know much about them. Dustin, what about you?
No, I don't know shit. So therefore, like I said, a lot of these UFC Vegas cards, let's give MMA analysts some slack. A lot of them are unknown. It's like watching a fucking random boxing card on ESPN. You're not going to know a lot of the younger fighters, a lot of the no names. You only know them if they're up and comer, if they're actually being advertised. So honestly, I kind of agree. I'll watch it just to see what's up. But other than just off for face value, I don't really know too much about them.
Okay, now we're moving on. Told you we were going to blow through this card. We got one of my favorite cards of one of my favorite fights of the evening. And I'm going to try my best to pronounce both of these fighters' names because I like both of them. We got Chidi Bang Bang Njoku Ani fighting Dusko Todorovic. This is exciting. Dusko is 28 years old. He's a guy that, he's one of those Serbian-born, Eastern European. But he can throw. He's got hands and he can wrestle. And then we got the phenom, Chidi, who is just. I understand he's had a rough go of it lately, but the guy is just exciting to watch every time you tune in. He throws crazy stuff. I'm excited for this. I'm picking Dusko to win this fight. I think he is the better overall fighter. But this is going to be a good one. This is a one that everyone should watch, whether it's Sunday after the card or live. You should definitely tune in this fight because I think someone's going to sleep. And I think Dusko wins this fight. Dustin, what you got?
Not too much. Like I said, man, until the main event, like I'm waiting. I always wait it out. It's weird. I don't know too much about these guys. I'm gonna go with the Serbian. Just off of thinking about it. I'll go with the Serbian.
You're just picking Russian.
Yeah, I'm going with the Russian fighter because they're all weird. So.
I don't know if this reminds you, but this is the guy who in the Contender Series fought that guy Teddy Ash and absolutely pieced him up and annihilated him, and then fought the other up-and-comer Daquan Townsend and absolutely destroyed him. And then had 2 losses in a row, unfortunately, but then beat Makai Pitolo on another Vegas fight night. He was on the main card and absolutely annihilated his opponent. He's definitely got talent, and he's coming into his own. He's 28 years old. That's when fighters start getting the best that they are. Next up, we got. This is going to be a fun fight. You might hate both of these people. I know Justin doesn't, but I'm talking to our fans. You might hate both of these fighters. There are some guys that just hate both of these fighters because they're crazy. We got Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Michael Pereira. This fight is going to be crazy. There's going to be some crazy things thrown. We might see some backflips happen, some, crazy jump kicks. Maybe Pereira tries to jump off the cage again. And then you got Ponzinibbio, who before his 2-year layoff because of his severe injury, was looking like he was about to absolutely take over the division. And he comes from American Top Team, so we know what kind of high level. Unfortunately, he's coming off of he beat Miguel Beza, which was good for him, good to see. And then he lost to Jeff Neal, which was not good for him and not good to see. So he really needs to win, but I am picking Michael Pereira. I think, unfortunately, Santiago Ponzinibbio, one of my favorite names to say, and was at one point one of my favorite up-and-comers to watch. I think he just can't recover from that lower body injury. We know how those float around and how those can last for a long time. So I'm thinking I'm definitely going Michael Pereira. And also what people don't know about Michael is high-level jiu-jitsu. High level. Dustin, what do you think about this fight?
I like both of them. See, my fight fans, this is finally a fight on the card where at least they have some type of weight they can throw around. Ponzinibbio, whatever the hell you say, it's your funnest one to say. Mine is Khabib Nurmagomedov. I just don't know what it is about Nurmagomedov, but I'm like one of the rare people who actually say it right. And I love it. It's like it's pleasing coming off the tongue. Like it's Nurmagomedov. It's dope as fuck. But anyway, if I had that last name, I'd feel hard as shit. Anytime I'm like, what's your name? Nurmagomedov. That sounds like you're about to fucking kill the whole room. But fucking Ponzinibbio, he is a really good fight. Yes, he lost. He lost to a tough guy, dude. Lost. It happens in the UFC. You're going to eventually, if you fight long enough. That's exactly what happens. I got him in this fight. Michael Pereira, he's a very good jiu-jitsu artist, by the way. Yes, very good submission guy. Ponzinibbio is a firecracker. That dude's a firecracker. He's a wild cat. He's fun to watch. And I actually hope he wins this because he's a guy that's good for the UFC. I don't give a shit what anybody says. He's a good fight for the UFC. He's a good one to put in the forefront, entertaining. And I guarantee Dana White sitting in his chair right now hoping he wins. Guarantee it. So I'm going for him, man. I think he'll beat Michael Pereira.
So just so everybody knows, this is Ponzinibbio because we might have some casual fans who forget about this man. He beat Sean Strickland. He beat Mike Perry. He beat Neil Magny. He went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak before his devastating injury took him out for 2 years. The guy was a monster at one point. I am rooting for him. I love him. He's again when he also beat Gunnar Nelson. This is a guy that's got one punch knockout power. And he really was pushing and scaring people in the division before his injury. The welterweight division was on notice about Santiago Ponzinibbio, the Argentinian dagger. The guy, I hope he recaptures that. I hope he does and makes a push. Though taking 2 years off because of an injury can end your career. It really can. He's 35 now. So he really needs to win this fight. This will get him back into fighting higher ranked opponents if he does. So I will definitely tune into this fight. I'll be rooting for Ponzinibbio, but I think he's going to lose. All right, now we're moving on to our exciting main event, which I almost wish wasn't, because I'm so sick and tired of seeing her, Dustin. I'm done. I'm off the train. I don't want to watch her anymore. And her name is Holly Holm. I don't care. I don't care about her. She's never going to fight at a high level again. She's never going to be considered one of the greatest of all, the greatest in that she is. Listen, she's not just living off of the Ronda Rousey win. I don't want people to think that I'm just an idiot. Holly Holm at one point was a legitimate great fighter, women's fighter in the UFC. That time has passed. I understand she's coming off a victory against Irene Aldana and Raquel Pennington. But again, I'm sorry. She's just not as good. She's just not as good as – and it's not her fault, really. It's just the women's divisions in the UFC get better like every day. They just keep getting better, and more killers just keep getting put into the divisions. Holly Holm right now is ranked 8th, and she's got Andrade, Esparza, Zhang, Namajunas, Pena, and Amanda Nunes, and Valentina Shevchenko. Oh, this is women's pound for pound. I'm sorry. That was dumb. That was really dumb of me. She's ranked. She's got Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena in front of her in the bantamweight division, and she's fighting Ketlin Vieira this fight, and I think she loses. Because I think she's on her way down. I really do, because these women in these divisions now are absolute killers. You got Yana coming up, Aspen Ladd, Sarah McCann, Macy Chiasson still floating around. Like, I just don't think she can keep up. And again, it's not her fault. Dustin, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm a victim of being a fan of Holly Holmes because I know her history. Holly Holmes is just getting older. She's got a lot of wear and tear on her. And if a lot of people don't know her, or if you are kind of a casual fan, or you watch when you can, Holly Holm was a 16-time women's boxing champion. probably one of the best women's boxers almost in the modern era, if you want to look back. I think the problem with Holly Holm, the only thing I will say is she's a bad matchup for a lot of people because of how long she is and how good she is with her hands and feet. She is still very, very good at that. Miesha Tate beat her. Honestly, she was on her way of making her first title defense before Miesha Tate jumped on her back and choked her out. She was good at one time. I do agree with Alec that with the new division, and make no mistake, the women's divisions are still to grow because it's still fairly new. I know Invicta's not new, but when it comes to elite talent, as in how it's going to get pumped into the sport, women's MMA is still highly new when it comes to the main stage. It takes a long time to develop new divisions like that, and it's coming. I mean, there's like there's starting to be like 6, 7, 8 girls that are highly talented that can fight. And I think that her time as being elite is probably over. But I'm going to be honest, I think she wins this main event. As far as winning championships, I couldn't say yes. But I'll say she wins this fight. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if she won, but I just think she gets choked out or something. She's fighting. I mean, Ketlin Vieira she's submission artist. That's what she does, and that's Holly Holm's weakness. She's got
Holly Holm is still the GOAT to me because she knocked Ronda Rousey the fuck out. You fucking awesome woman. Fuck. I remember watching that shit live, dude. Me and my dad were sitting on the couch, and I was just reclining, like thinking nothing's gonna happen. And I watched Ronda Rousey get flattened like a fucking board. And I jumped out of my chair and was like, knock that bitch out. I was so happy. I don't think I've ever been more happy for a finish in the UFC. I was laughing. I wasn't even as excited for Amanda Nunes knocking her out because Holly Holm's knockout was so satisfying. And I watched it and I was like, oh, you bad.
Yeah.
And so literally I have a soft spot for Holly Holm. She's still my quote unquote GOAT. I love you. You sent Ronda Rousey to the WWE, and that was a fucking thing.
Anyway, we're way over time. We have to end now. Guys, we got fight night next week, Volkov versus Rosenstrike. That fight card is not built yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. Then after that, following that, we have the great and the awesome UFC 275. That will be, again, just reminding everyone, highly likely to be Glover Teixeira's last fight, so everyone should turn into that. But that card is absolutely crazy. Hopefully, Manuel Cape can still fight. We'll see what happens there with his drug testing and stuff like that. But, guys, please tune in next week. We'll be back. But thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Happy fight week.